This is 1865, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor our coming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Reish and Gimel still. You test till Chaf Hey. You test. Chasar Rabbeinu Ramah B'si Beis. Yeshin the Koza Eno Asarak Shenot L'Minakim Ribod Yom. That all the issues of Chazara only, not putting it on the ground, that's put it back is only if you took it up before nightfall. You want to put it back after nightfall. But if you took it after nightfall from the stove, you're allowed to put it back. I feel even you put it on the ground in the interim. And this is our custom to be lenient in our with our ovens. Sheyesh lem din kira, because we give them the status of a kira. The song that's one we rely on those who are lenient. For tov lachmir, so it's to be machmir nevertheless. Meal needs taneh, but if it cooled off, chuliyam also everybody agrees that it's forbidden. Yesh some say the imhotzi ma'achom min atzor b'Shabbos. Some will say if you took food out of the oven on Shabbos, also nicha b'kar muksasos, you can't even put it in pillows and blankets. Ad kan l'shoneh. Beardvar, what the Ramah is saying is the Yeshua. Some say the kol din chazar shows the whole. If it's or you take off the stove before Shabbos and put it back after Shabbos begins. Does that feel in this batch called circle? Because then even if it's completely cooked, vuroteach, it's boiling. Also, if we're going to put it back, because that is looks like you're doing shehiyah l'chatchila on Shabbos. But you took it up on Shabbos and put it back on Shabbos. It's not the chazar which Chachamim forbade. The bishul Shabbos said there's no bishul in this. There's no suspicion that you're going to rake the coals. Because it's boiling and it's already fully cooked. So this is like shehiyah. And even if you put it on the ground, the first shehiyah does not cancel. And then the world relies on they take the pots from our ovens, even though they are fueled with wood, and we do not remove the coals or I believe the English term is bank the ashes, cover the ashes. We take a little bit of food and put it back in the oven. But it's better to be machmir this. This is the opinion of one Rishon, the Ran. It's obviously forbidden. That is said you're not allowed to put it in pillows and blankets. It's a simple thing. Even they're not adding heat. Also, b'Shabbos, you're not allowed to do hatmana. Insulating on Shabbos, because of simulation Zion. You owe some cane. Since those who did this because they thought that the only insulation forbidden on Shabbos is initial insulation. But if it was on the stove mutter, you're allowed to put it in insulation. Just like you can take from stove and put it in another stove. This therefore it's clear that it's usher. In brackets, it ends here. Also, I believe that's what the Ramah meant. The Mishnah Berurah says, if there are burning coals, then it's plush in the Mishnah that if it's not Gor for Kotam, even going Beis Hillel, it's forbidden to put back. And even our ovens that were like a kira, also if they're burning coals, it's also no matter what. In other words, coals which are still red. And that which is said in Yeshua's Yankov, that in terms of chazor, it's enough when you remove the coals to one side. You can give a lenient if you did that mibod yom. I assume you did mibod yom. That even on one side, it's okay. In other words, since it's only one side, you can do this chazara. Mishnah Berurah says also that we can be lamed zchus on the minhag to be lenient even if you put it on the ground, because the place can say that isur chazara. There is no isur chazara unless some posts can say, I guess, that there's no isur chazara unless the heat of the pot will become greater, boiling from the renewed heat of the fire. And that doesn't happen so much, and therefore one doesn't have to be so concerned. The Maisa, the minhag, I believe, is to be makbid, not to put on, when taking food, like the Friday night sholet. I remember the elaborate ritual we had in the yeshiva for this, that because it's a huge shalom pot, you have to have a couple of people hold them midair, and then somebody pour out from there. The minhag is to take food on Shabbos, but only will hold it l'chatchila, and even on some level b'diavad, only if you hold it, only have to ask to put it back. Putting on the ground is something which is only b'diavad, should be b'diavad to put it back nonetheless. Chaf kasabatur v'im ein a group of ketuma, if it's not emptied or banked. Also zero, you can't put the pot back. Only by Shabbos, of course not put it back on Shabbos. But even before, from during the day. There, once the entire cooking has been complete, you leave it on the stove till evening to preserve its heat. If you take it from the stove, also you can't put it back. Even if it's still boiling, if it's so late in the afternoon of Erev Shabbos, there will be no time to boil it if it's starting from cold. Because because we make a decree lest you come take it on Shabbos. If you let him put it back before Shabbos, you can also put it back on Shabbos, even to cool down. Because as long as it's not cooked, I feel in these bashal, if it's cooked, and there'll be time to boil it if it became cold. Mutar you can put it back. The kupach, the cubicles of an imisiko bagash vava, if you fueled it with straw and twig, dino kakira, it's like a kira. Begevas eitzim, you fuel it with olive dregs or wood. Dino katano, it's like a tanor out the pyramidical oven ad kan l'shoinai, end quote of the tour. Chafa, that which he said, we're afraid that if we let you take it off from before Shabbos, you're also going to come to put it back on Shabbos. It's clearly not going according to the Yeshua and the Ramah brought that on Shabbos you're allowed to put it back. Again, if you put it on the ground. This is a Ran, but two doesn't hold this way. But even going to this opinion, the Ran, evidently, you should still be concerned about taking it on Erev Shabbos, putting it back on Shabbos itself. The bracket says, he says, the feast has to sharpen Masha Ramah. Maybe that the Duke makes sense that the Ramah, who brings down the Ran, still brings down this concept of not putting back on Erev Shabbos, as we will see in the next sif. That which he said that when there's enough time in the day to theoretically boil it, it's a mutter gan kain asi Shabbos works so well. Chagam l'shad across chazora. That's not chazora. Ela hashra. Is enough time to boil it back for Shabbos. Okay, if that's not the case, Nesa kol yom erev Shabbos zero. That's forbidden to put it back all of erev Shabbos. Onam zesh because of the gam kshelonis bash lamutar avzira zayin. Move on. Now we say it's not cooked. You're not allowed to put it back. That is not understandable. Unfortunately, because of that time, the chaygam lokazin shasa b'Shabbos. The Mepharshim say that in such a scenario is not a reason to make a gzeira that he might do on Shabbos. The body live Shabbos. He's certainly not going to cook from scratch on Shabbos. This is astonishing, says HaShulchan. Because we Shema Yishkach Shayom Shabbos. We do make a gzeira that person forget the Shabbos and he'll rake the goals. Lemasish poskim shecholkim. Holkim said the poskim will argue. Begam Rabbeinu Ramah loy visa ayin sham. The time of the Ramah is bringing the time of Shatun lead the Kshalnois Bashadain Lo Shal because Chazara El Ashah. If it's not cooked in any way, shape, or form, it can't be called Chazara. It's a Shia. The Raya, the Chazara Matir and Afilu B'Shabbos Kosher is Bar, and the evidence is on even on Shabbos you can put the pot back. Shabbos Shita the Emak Zirim B'Chai Gavna, and on Shabbos clearly you don't put it back in such a fashion when it's completely raw. The shame chazor ain't al tov she's partial gamre. The general principle is that you don't have chazor unless something is completely cooked. I would like to add that if you don't say like the Tur, obviously the whole heter had kedera chayosa of raw, putting on a raw pot or putting a raw piece of meat into a pot right before Shabbos would not apply. So therefore, we're compelled to say that if it's completely uncooked, there's no issue of chazor and of Shabbos, only if it was actually cooked cold circle. And then we'll have all these parameters from the Ramah. Chab Beis, Rabbi Ramah Visa Gankein Bezel Lashon. So Ramah quotes this as follows. Some say the kosher some chashecha, which is adjacent to nightfall, or some Baruch or adjacent to Baruch. I guess it wants to be in Kabbalah Shabbos early. Shulabal Shabbos is done, which is Arukh Shabbos. Im hu samuch kol kach. If it's so close to Shabbos, she needs tana ktera, that if the pot cooled down, Ev Sharatim Yom wouldn't be able to bring it back to boil before Shabbos begins. You know, Shabbos Hatzel, it's all like Shabbos itself. Yesh Mekilim Bezeh, that those are Meko by a Minag Lohakel. A minute is to be Meko. But it's best to be Makar, there's not such a need. Davka Gabikira Mamish, this is specifically on top of the oven. I believe smoke, but to put it adjacent to the oven. I feel so let us bow even adjacent to the fire when the place where it's yatso. Let us bow shari. I feel samuch l'chashecha. That's permissible even right before nightfall. But Tanner ain't chiluk ben l'avzir love ben l'smoke and slow. By Tanner there is no heter like that because it's the greater heat of the pyramidal oven. Makes a difference if it's put on top or on the next one. That makom sheyad lettuce, and also all this whole issue of the place where yad lettuce, where it's at sufficient heat to be considered capable of cooking. But if the hand does not get jump back when it touches there, shari it's mitzvah feel b'Shabbos. It's mitzvah with that even on Shabbos. It's not so much the place is not yad but if it's not going to bring the food to yad then you can put stuff on Shabbos. Even out of the refrigerator, in most opinions. Comments Simin Shin Yud Ches. So we're going to see. But that the Zeshkas of Samach Baruch Av Samach Hashecha. That was she said that adjacent Baruch was like adjacent to nightfall. Yesh Hokin Love that those who argue him. They not Chmir Badavar and saying that's don't have to be severe about this. Shein Alexander Shemechat B'Samach Baruch. Because it's only there that he might come to rake the coals right before Baruch. But even if he rakes the coals right before Baruch, ain't got it's a Torah. There's no Torah prohibition because it's not Tosefet Shabbos, not Shabbos itself. Therefore, you can believe with this. This is going to mean that they used to daven Erev Shabbos while we're still broad daylight. All is about leaving stuff. When the pot is sitting on top of a metal stand or on top of stones, it's not touching the coals. The halacha says either in the inside a kira or inside a tanur, depending on what we're talking about. But to put something insulated by putting it on top of the coals mamish, everybody agrees that it's awesome. Because it says when the pot touches the coals, which is true about Arukh HaShulchan's time, not today, that's not considered to be shihiyah but hatmana because the heat source is coming directly into contact with the pot. Hevel is never permitted. According to this, there would be no leniency for us to put the pots in Erev Shabbos adjacent to nightfall, and unless it is actually the coals removed or banked. But these times, many people are not careful about this. According to this opinion, the base there's no head in our ovens at all. But we have still the Ramah to see. Because says that even the fire is actually on the fire, down low, down on top of it, mamish. As long as it's up on top, it's open. Lo mikra atmana b'shar. It's not called atmana because atmana is only when it's insulated on all sides. Chenamek, that is the tradition. Bakshi tzayim not cooked tzatz kodim Shabbos mina eish. The minhag though is to remove it move it before Shabbos from being directly in the fire. In order to remove it from there, and I guess if you move it, if it's directly in the fire, remove it so you're making the coals burn brighter. I think it's about. If you didn't remove it and found on top of the fire on Shabbos, you have a non-Jew remove it. If there isn't a non-Jew, the Jew can remove it there. They should be careful to take it slowly, and not to stir the ashes, the coals. Sorry. And even if you end up, shaking them a bit, it's according to him, that's not called atmona. The dafka shekosei tanur medubokim lakteros saviv. It's only if the walls of the oven would be mamish on top, right next to, like any insulation, right next to the pot itself. Shahim says chasina so gamamala, and you also cover it on top. I think I skipped. Let's go back here a bit. Like when you do atmana in a piece of material, where you surround it, and here and you cover it also on top. This doesn't take place in our ovens. So by us, it's not hatmana, it's shehiyah, and that is more lenient. Bialacha said this is permitted even when it's in the oven itself, because it's on his basho, and it's not now on the fire. It's okay, but I think that's not relevant to Arukh HaShulchan. It says even on the fire it's okay. Anyway, on number back to Arukh HaShulchan, number mashikosav sheyisol atzmo yosiyam eish. That says that the Jew itself, you can take it out of the fire. Kula gedoili. Again, it's on the coals. It's a great kula. You shouldn't do it unless you have no other option. If the coals are around the pot and touching the pot, so pshita also you saw this alcohol. So the Jew obviously can't remove itself. The mezei was moving the coals umavir al yonos, and ignites the top ones and mavachavatos and extinguishes the bottom ones. Carvo the right side can come close to being this the right side. Even by non-Jews, it's difficult to be mako. Nevertheless, through a non-Jew can be lenient. Because I'm not telling him to make the coals, but to take the pot. And if he ignites or extinguishes, that's his problem, not ours. And the Mishmur also concurs that the B'shas and Tzar can rely on the Yesh Mekilif by a non-Jew. Our ovens, plus the Paskins, the Dinam Kikira, they're like the double oven. Time Shem Zom because they're very large, basically outside and they open on the side for Ruach Yotzei, and the wind goes out. The very Shmuel and Marshall is not so happy with this. But we go by the Ramah, and we find Rishonim like this as well. And the senses indicate this to be true, that our ovens are not like their ovens, because there's much more room and much more opening when it's from the side. The Tanner, I couldn't even draw a comparison between our ovens and the Tanner Shib's Managmar Shakes the Grakidar, which only have one pot, who is pyramidical in shape. And what is like the when we put a pot on top of the Tanner, has something called starting, which is closed up from all sides. Sholta Jose Kaesh B'chak there Sabib. The most powerful parts of the fire will go all around. Will go all around the pot. No comparison to our ovens. The Dayoshin are therefore sufficient that we should judge it like a double oven. Mishabura says, but there are limits to this, because in a oven of bakers, which they use all the time, and is very hot. It's best to be machmer to actually consider it to be a tanur. Okay. V'chein ha-plitas shalanu. I think it's about like a hot plate. Only they didn't have electricity, so I'm not sure what it is. But whatever it is, Vadeh Kikir, they're definitely like a double ever check. There's some Nimi Lamala. Not to come to this because I think it's just a flat surface. Because the pots are on top and they are not in. Right? Ushavim Mata Lamala Mata, and it's not pyramidal in shape. So Mamish Kikira, have a look at that one. That's literally like a Kira, not like a Dano. But Kochach Shalonu. The Kochach Land of Shasim Chalab, but often at Tanur and Del's Canal, make hole in the bottom of the, in the walls of the oven with a small door, Shel Barzal made of metal. Zeu Mamish Smicha Shenis Bar. That is to use that as the putting next to the fire, which is fire, which is forbidden. Shein Al Tanur have a Ganket Smicha. To the tanur, that would be considered to be putting next to and forbidden. Can't leaving out tanur recurring kaminik ulifnei peha tanur yesh korim la yamka. So gankin kismicha. We're not familiar with all these terms, but there also would be usher. And that is it for today.